Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Ester Rutoro from Zimbabwe. I hold a Doctor of Philosophy in Education, and I'm the Dean in the Faculty of Education and Social Sciences at the Reformed Church University. I'm also coordinating the research-based curriculum development at the same university. I co-authored the chapter 11 on education in the book African Public Theology with Professor Samuel P. Ango from Nigeria. The chapter examines education as a critical driver in socio-economic development and transformation of any nation. It emphasizes the role of education as a primary tool in human capital development, and it further explores the centrality of education in moral development of individuals and societies at large. It is from the perspective of the importance of education that this chapter shows the importance of educating children and young adults in the correct manner, as the results of a wrongly educated population can be very disastrous for countries. This chapter shows that a wrongly educated citizenry is characterized by social ills like corruption, laziness, widespread injustice, misuse of technology, and general moral decadence, all of which are against key biblical principles which we should uphold as Christians and as citizens of countries. This chapter further assesses inadequacies which are observed in most African education systems, and these include substandard education, which does not instill the right skills in its recipients, inadequate educational infrastructure, especially in the economic periphery of societies. This was seen to result in education-induced social stratification and education-induced social injustices. There is also high teacher-pupil ratio, especially in those countries where there is massification of education, and there are also under-motivated teachers in some instances because of low remuneration. We also saw that most teachers over-depend on the rote type of learning at the expense of engaging learners in methodologies that promote development of critical thinking skills, abilities in education. So, because of those inadequacies, this chapter so that the education system churns out large quantities of graduates, most of whom are poorly trained and poorly equipped for the demands of contemporary economies. The chapter draws its examples from the Zimbabwean experience, where we can see that Zimbabwe in 1980 at independence adopted the Education for All policy, and this policy resulted in Zimbabwe being among one of the African countries with very high literacy rates, and Zimbabwe boasts of over 94% literacy rate. But we may ask a question: whether Zimbabwe is harvesting the fruits of its investment in education. And this question comes in the face of widespread reports on corruption, money laundering, thefts, high-class crimes, skyrocketing unemployment, and mass immigration of the educated citizens because of the unemployment, and also general economic pain for most citizens. Then we may further ask, what went wrong with such a noble idea of educating a nation? That's where now we come to the type of education that is offered, the processes involved in educating the citizens, and also the investment in human resources, in material resources, as well as in infrastructure that is adequate to realize the envisioned outcomes. It is from this perspective that for an education system that is instrumental towards the realization of the Africa we want and the Africa God wants, there is need for a transformation in educational practices. This chapter therefore explores or proposes an education system that aims at building character, ability, reasoning, critical thinking skills, entrepreneurship, innovativeness, creativity, and the job creation aptitude in its graduates. It should not just be about numbers, but it should be about developing graduates who have the right mindset, the appropriate skills, the right moral principles, and also the right psychological makeup. Thus, we propose a new perspective for education in Africa, for education to feed into the African Union Agenda 2063, the Africa we want, and as Christians we go further to create the Africa God wants. With this in mind, it is therefore pertinent that the system of educating citizens be revised so that it becomes appropriate to serve the economic and social objectives of Africa and advance the common good. This is a key principle in public theology. The chapter finally reflects on the need for a change in educational pedagogy. We should embrace the contemporary approaches, which include computer-based approaches as well as research-based approaches in their various forms. We should also explore possibilities in traditional African approaches, which were used in initiation schools as well as during processes of socialization. We should look at methods which include the use of folklore, song, dance, proverbs, riddles, and African drama. We can also explore Jesus' methods of teaching, which he used to teach his disciples and those around him. Jesus used the parables, questioning, probing, problem-solving, discovery, and research-based approaches. If we explore these synoptic gospels, we'll see instances where Jesus used such methods of teaching. It is this holistic approach to education which Africa needs to empower citizens to be creators of wealth and sustainable societies. And over and above all, Africa should envision an education system that emphasizes character development, integrity, respect for human rights, respect for the self, and respect for justice. These are principles upheld in Christian teachings and also which form the basis of the African Ubuntu philosophy. I implore you to read the chapter on education in the book African Public Theology for this and more other ideas. Thank you.